Shalom, shalom. This your boy Raya Allah coming at you with another lesson. But first and foremost, we definitely gotta give all praises to the Heavenly Father and the Lashawan Quadash. We're gonna start off by saying Kal Halayim La Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Ha Rakah Quadash Ma. Definitely want to give double honor to the apostle GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give honor to my elder Aharwan Ban Yashala of the Lions Den Camp, located in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere believers of this truth. Shalom. Nuclear war would see hundreds of millions of people die in the first 72 minutes, experts warn. Right, so this is prophetic. Right, we know that scriptures talk about Armageddon, and all throughout the scriptures, it's prophesied that nuclear war is coming to this whole planet, right, and America will be destroyed um, completely, right, and engulfed in a flame of fire. Right. It says an expert has warned hundreds of millions would die within the first few hours of a nuclear war, and says no matter how it starts, it ends with everyone dead. Andy Jacobson is the author of multiple best-selling books on American military, which include studies of top secret research lab DARPA and the infamous Area 51. She says that if Russia or China launched a missile, the U.S. president would have only 6 minutes to make a vital decision, the Daily Star reports. Should they retaliate, which would lead to the deaths of nearly the whole world population, right? And that's prophetic, right? That's prophecy, man. Nearly, right? It's not the whole world, but most of it, right? It's going to be destroyed. Let's get that, right? So the point being that the whole world is not going to be destroyed. It's Zechariah 14 and 16, and it should come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations, right, and that's the key point. Everyone that is left after the destruction, right, which came against Jerusalem, shall even go up from year to year, right, to worship the King, right, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right. So they're gonna go up to worship Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, right. So, but the point was made that it's going to be other nations still left around. Right, it says, or should they allow one of America's cities to be blasted off the map? Speaking to podcaster Lex Fridman, the current U.S. doctrine of launch on warning means retaliation would happen before there was time for questions on why the first alert had been set off. She said, we are one misunderstanding and one miscalculation away from nuclear Armageddon. And no matter how nuclear war starts, it ends with everyone dead. She said the U.S. Defense Department has a early warning system, and the system is in space is called Cerberus, a constellation of satellites that is keeping an eye on all of America's enemies. So the moment an ICBM launches, they see the hot rocket exhaust on the ICBM a fraction of a second after it launches, and so there being this horrifying policy called launch on warning, and that's the U.S. counterattack. So basically, the U.S. As soon as they see anything in the air, they launch into, for the most part, right? So it says the reason that the United States is so fiercely watching for a nuclear launch somewhere around the globe is so that the nuclear command and control system in the U.S. can move into action to immediately make a counterstrike. That policy launch on warning is exactly like it says. It means the United States will not wait to absorb a nuclear attack. It will launch nuclear warnings, like nuclear weapons in response before the bomb actually hits. It says one more than one past occasion, right? The order has been given for Russia or American forces to launch a nuclear strike, for it to then emerge that the command was given incorrectly. Next time we might not be so lucky, right? So the thing is, they've had an account like this before, where the so-called UFOs, right, which are the angels in the chariots, right, doing the bidding of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right, was flying around nuclear bases and cutting off the nuclear system to where they couldn't shoot off the nuclear weapons. Right, they were shutting down the whole base. Right, so but it has to be in the time of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right, it's not on their time; it's on His time. We on His time. Right, it says next time we might not be so lucky, and that's and that's right. Right, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua prophesied to destroy this most of the world, right, especially America and Jerusalem, right, with ICBM missiles and the angels and the chariots. Right, it says and he adds one former U.S. president has shared doubts that it's rational to unleash Armageddon based on a blimp on a radar screen. Nahum 1 and 6, who can stand before his indignation? Now, who can stand before Yahweh Bashim Yahushua's indignation, man? Right? They can act like they have all the power in the world, but it's his indignation, right? This is his armory that he has opened up. And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fear is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. Jeremiah 15:25, the Lord Yahweh hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh, right? Power of hosts, God of armies, right? It says in the land of the Chaldeans, right? In this place is spiritually known as Chaldeans, the spiritually known as Egypt, Nineveh, Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, right? The whore that rides upon the scarlet colored beast. but not Egypt, Nineveh, Syria, right? So this place, the Lord has an indignation against this place, man. And he has opened up his armory to bring forth that destruction. Right? It says, and he said the best sort of hitting the nail on the head statement is in President Reagan's memoirs. He refers to the 6-minute window and calls it irrational. The efforts of a nuclear explosion are not typically understood, and the consequent mushroom cloud will pull in people from miles around and hurl them into the sky whilst they burn to death. This horror will be repeated in cities worldwide, right? So the Lord says He's gonna have them burning on their feet, right? And the people that's caught a little further distance, they're gonna be tossed into the air and be burning with the elements, right, from that fervent heat. 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up, going into that nuclear destruction, that nuclear fallout. Right, when that mushroom cloud, when that nuclear ICBM hits and creates that huge blast, and that mushroom cloud goes up, anything that's caught in that blast, anything that's swept up into that blast, is going to still be melting from that fervent heat. Right, that nuclear energy, should I say, or nuclear blast is full of heat, dust, and um, chemicals, and all kind of debris. Right, it's hitting you with the straight elements, man, like straight from the nuclear blast itself. Right, it says, seeing that then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversations? So we should be out, speaking this truth, right, prophesying and putting this word out and doing the work, right? Because every time that he prophesied, every time he was finna destroy something, bring destruction amongst some people or to a kingdom, he always prophesied, and had the prophets prophesy out there in the streets, right, to warn the people. Revelation 6:12, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, right? Because when that mushroom cloud is up in the air, it's gonna, this it's prophesied that 200 million warheads, right, are going to hit this place, man, and it's a bunch of warheads in just in one missile, ICBM. So imagine all those mushroom clouds going up and covering the skies, right, with all the dust and debris, right, and the elements from the nuclear destruction, right, that fervent heat. And it says, I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, right, the ICBM hit him, and right, it's back to back to back, and the sun became black as sackcloth, right, from all that dust and debris and all the ash, right. It says, as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood due to the nuclear um, toxins that's in the air and the elements, right, mixing together. And it says, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree cast of her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind, right? Going into that, all of those nuclear missiles, right? All ICBMs being blasted off all at one time, right? It's going to look like figs falling out of fig tree. It says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it rolled together, right? Going as soon as that bad boy hit and caused that earthquake, that mushroom cloud goes in the sky, like, and it looks like and the heavens departed as a scroll, right? When it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, right? Due to those nuclear destruction, man. It's it's gonna rock the world to and fro, right? It's gonna turn the sky black, man, to the point where you can barely even see the moon, right? Barely see the sun, and the moon is gonna have a different color to it, right? It's gonna be a nuclear fallout. That's why we are out here doing this work to prophesy, to warn the people. She continued, the United States has 1,770 nuclear weapons deployed, meaning those weapons could launch in as little as 60 seconds and up to a couple minutes. Some of them on the bombers might take an hour or so. Russia has 1,674 deployed nuclear weapons. Some scenario their weapon systems are on a par with ours. That's not to mention the 12,500 nuclear weapons amongst the other nine nuclear armed nations. When the weapons detonate, 300 miles per hour winds would cause carnage, she says, adding, you're talking about people miles out getting sucked up into that stem. When you see the mushroom cloud, right, the heavens roll together as a scroll, right, that would be people. Annie also says she spoke to dozens of major political and military figures regarding the concept of nuclear deterrence, and they tend to agree on one detail. She said, every source I interviewed for this book, from former secretaries of defense, nuclear sub-force commanders, STARCOM commanders, FEMA directors, nuclear weapons engineers, they all shared with me the common denominator that nuclear war is insane, right? It's insane because they know it's they know it's inevitable, right? The Lord, this is the Lord's armory, right? He has opened up the doors to his armory, man, and he has blessed the Edomites with the sword, man, right? For them to be able to make weapons like this, but it was all for his, indignation, so he can, reuse that and put that back on their heads, man. Put it back, bring it back upon them for the things they have did to his children, right? And for the and just because he made them that way, right? It's the only reason why they in the midst, because we wouldn't do right. Right, they wouldn't even have to go through that if we would have just listened and repented and turned back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua in sincerity and the truth. Right, but instead we got people out here still celebrating Easter. Little things like that. We can't. That's why we do the work, man, to tear down the strongholds of the people's minds, man, to bring them back to the sheepfold of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But too many people are caught up into their own vain philosophies and the vain philosophies of this wicked kingdom, right? That stem from the Roman Empire. All of that stuff comes from the Roman Empire, right? They're stuck on their vain philosophies, man, and indulging into their witchcraft, right? And blaspheming against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua while they continue to give praises to their false deities, right? And commit idolatry, right? This says if a U.S. president made the fateful decision to strike back, countless lives will end in less time than it takes to play a game of football. First millions, then tens of millions, then hundreds of millions of people will die in the first 72 minutes of a nuclear war, and then comes nuclear winter, where the billions then die from starvation. So like Revelation 18 and 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her, which is talking about America, burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, right? Alas, right? Alas, that great city, right? America, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, right? Had their military power everywhere, right? Going into those three spirits that leaped out of the frog, right? And their money system that they had, their banking system, right? And their vain philosophies they made these other countries take a part of, right? How they have military bases in everybody's country, right? It says, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate, man. Right? The article says 72 minutes, but within 1 hour she will be made desolate. Zechariah 14:12, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Right, so that's going into them ICBMs, burning the people with that fervent heat. Yahweh Ratazah, this lesson was edifying. Shalom and DTA.